Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Season 2 is here, and at long last, we have Resurgence live via Ashika Island here in Warzone 2. And today, of course, we got to break down the best setups for Resurgence gameplay, since of course this differs quite a bit from your standard Warzone action. So I got the top 5 best loadouts to run through with you guys here. First up, I want to talk about my equipment and my perks, because this is going to be the same on every single loadout that we covered today. So I've been running smokes a ton lately. I've been seeing a lot of the pros run these. They are fantastic for potentially sticky situations where you might be getting shot at, you need to heal up, you don't have cover, throw a smoke down, run around in a circle, you know, you can sprint and plate at the same time. They're really clutch, honestly, and frankly the other tacticals are kind of mediocre outside of like flashes. Semtex is pretty standard for my lethal, and now that we can create custom perk packages, this is what I personally go for. So perk 1, I've got overkill, so I can obviously have 2 guns. That's better than 1, so 2 custom primaries off the rip. Double time for that better duration of the tac sprint, and if I'm crouching, I get that better movement. Resupply so I can replenish my smokes and my semtexes as needed. And then just behind the face cam there, I also use quick fix for my ultimate perk. That way, the second that I get a cleanup kill there, I can start replenishing my health, which in Resurgence, I mean, that's about as clutch as it gets. If you can get that health back, that could potentially save you and help you win another fight. If you're ever fighting, you know, multiple players at once, you're at a disadvantage, anything like that. So that's my perk package on every single setup. Getting into the weapons here, we'll just focus on these for all the class setups now. The M13 got a buff. The Minibak actually got a nerf, but it's still feeling ridiculously good. This setup together has got you covered for Resurgence. It's my #1 go-to right now. Initially here on the M13, I'm running the Schlager 3.4 times. It's like perfect for mid to long range. If you like the AMOP V4 more, if you like a Blue Dot more, always use the optic you're the most comfortable with. Here though, I tune for that better ADS and furthest eye position. Like always, that's with every single optic. I do run the 60 round mag. The rate of fire on the M13 is fast, so the more ammo you have in a mag, the better. It's going to slow you down some, but the damage per mag without the 60 round is just not it, so that's pretty clutch. Edge 47 underbarrel. This is going to give you the same pros as the Ripper essentially, but with less cons. I tune for the better stability and the stabilization, just making it even easier to shoot. As you guys know, suppressors are kind of useless outside of maybe lowering the volume of your gun a bit, but with how often you are right next to somebody in Resurgence, not really needed. So I go for muzzles now that are going to help out simply with control, and I opt for other attachments elsewhere. Here I'm going for the Sack and Tread 40, and I go for the better gun kick control and better recoil stabilization on that tune. And then for my final attachment, really I feel like you've got 2 options. You can mess around with the Bruin Echelon barrel. This is going to give you better range, velocity, and control. Really what I like out of that is the control factor, frankly. The range and velocity are kind of whatever, they're just added benefits. I do tune for better range and better recoil steadiness though. If you don't want to run a barrel though, and you want this weapon to feel even more just like laser beam-esque over range when it comes to hit detection, drop the barrel, put on a high velocity ammo. We've talked about this as well. Those 2 are very interchangeable depending on any given gun, so you could go either route with that. But overall, the M13 after this update with the buff is feeling fantastic, especially here on Resurgence. And then for the Minibak, like I said, it got some nerfs to some of its lower body damage and range, but overall, if you're aiming for the upper half of the body, this thing is going to fry, and I really am enjoying how this feels right now. So first up, True Tac rear grip, better ADS and sprint to fire. I tune to maximize that with even better ADS and even better sprint to fire there. I go for the basic red dot here, not too huge on the iron sights. They're all right, but I like the Chrono Mini Pro. I say red dot, it's really a blue dot, I should say. Furthest eye position, faster ADS on this tune per usual. Olay laser for that faster ADS and sprint to fire. That's going to be clutch, and we actually can tune these now with season 2, so I go for the even faster ADS and even faster sprint to fire yet again. Obviously, being that it's an SMG, we want to be able to have the best mobility possible while still maintaining decent damage and decent control, which is why I run the Bach 9 barrel. This is going to help out. Okay, or we're on the main menu, that's fine too. This is going to help out with range and velocity, so it's going to keep it nice and consistent there, but I can then tune for better recoil and a better ADS as well, so getting a lot of pros out of that. And then lastly, I go for the Lockshot KT85, just better control here. Again, you don't need the suppressor. You're not going to show up on the map or the compass anyways without one. So I tune for better gun kick control and ADS speed. You could also go for the better stability though if you wanted to there either, or works fine. But Minibak feeling great for those close range fights. Now loadout number 2, another one that I'm really enjoying now post update with the TAC 56 and then also the MP5. Because the changes that we saw to the other SMGs, MP5 didn't really see any, so it's now inadvertently even more competitive, and the TAC 56 didn't see any changes, also inadvertently even more competitive. Here, this is my go-to setup for basically mid-range and a little bit of long range. We're going iron sight because they're just so clean on the SCAR. First up, I got the combat rear grip for the better control. I just want to make this thing feel like a laser beam essentially. I tune for better stability and better recoil steadiness here. 40 round mag is my personal preference. You could go 60, just keep in mind it's going to slow you down a little bit more, but it could also save you in certain situations. So just go with what you're the most comfortable with there. I feel like 40 is totally sufficient if you're landing your shots, right? High velocity ammo going to feel like an absolute beast over mid and long range with that better hit reg essentially, because you don't have to account for as much bullet drop. Where you're shooting is where your bullets are going to go. I tune for the even better velocity, even better damage range on that. Edge 47 underbarrel yet again, better stability, better recoil stabilization, helping out with that overall control. And then I do go for the Harbinger suppressor in this case. If you wanted to, you could switch out for a compensator. It'll work well here too. The only reason I'm going for this again is for that slightly better velocity. You don't need to run a barrel here. That's not necessary for the SCAR in specific, so I'm getting that slightly better range, better control as well. I tune for a better ADS. The recoil smoothness stat is irrelevant, so we don't have to focus on that. And then I go for better velocity as well. So this is going to still feel super good, and because it's so easy to use, the realistic TTK is one of the better options in the game, in all honesty. Then the MP5, this is my super aggressive, very speedy build that's also going to be very easy to use. So I go for the TCG 10 rear grip, better control, but then I tune for the inverse of better ADS and sprint to fire, basically to get control and mobility out of one single attachment here. 40 round mag, just your basic extended mag, no surprises there. 7mm laser, faster ADS and sprint to fire yet again. We're tuning for even faster ADS and sprint to fire, so going all in on that mobility. I go for the lock grip precision underbarrel. It hurts your ADS a bit, but we can actually tune to get some of that back, and we can tune for a better hip walking speed, just making it better for those transition fights where you're going from hip fire to ADS, and it's going to make it easier to use because of the control benefits as well. And then lastly, I go for the pulsar barrel. This is meant for basically movement speed and ADS speed. Hurts your range, your velocity. That's not too important for close range. And then obviously we've already got the control back, and you can tune for better control here with that steadiness and a faster ADS. So all around, this thing is checking every box. Easy to use with control, fast, and good TTK, so great secondary choice. By the way, as we are going through everything today, just a reminder, every single day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, whether it's news and updates, loadouts like these, everything else in between. So if you want to stay up to date, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and join us on the road to 1 million subs. And if you guys enjoyed this video, or if you find it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it as well, would be really appreciated. Let's try and aim for 2,000 likes on this one. Now, loadout number 3 consists of the nerfed RPK, which is absolutely still a top tier option. The thing is still frying. It's just not as dominant as it was before. And I got the Vaznev, which also was nerfed, but for only mid to long range. Close range, where we're going to use this as an SMG, it still has a fantastic TTK, so no real change to its close range dominance that it already had last season as well. So RPK setup here, not really changing too much outside the fact that we're not going for suppressor anymore. So AMOP V4 optic, of course, tuned for the furthest eye position, faster ADS. Demo X2 grip for the better control. We're pretty much going all in on control with this as is. Tuned for better stability, and that's slightly better recoil steadiness. I go for high velocity on here again, just to make it feel more consistent over range. Better velocity, better damage range on those tunes. Edge 47 underbarrel yet again for that better stabilization, just making it easier to shoot. Better stability, better recoil stabilization directions for those tunes. Then lastly, instead of a suppressor, I'm going for sack and tread 40. Here we're going for the better gun kick control, and then also the better recoil stabilization once more. So this thing's still going to shoot very straight. Yes, its damage is not going to be as good, but it's still one of the best long range options in the game. And then again, like I said, the Vaznev close range, it's just frying. So here we want to focus on, again, that mix of speed and control. So true tack grip, better ADS, and sprint to fire. I actually tune to maximize that because this gun, in my opinion, is very easy to shoot as is. I also go for the R7 stock here. This is going to be for better sprint to fire and ADS mainly. That's what I'm focused on here. I tune for the slightly better stability just to have some kind of consistency there, and then also the faster ADS speed. Olay laser yet again, better sprint to fire, better ADS on the tunes, no surprises there. Cast 1 barrel I do use. Again, if you wanted to, you could go for maybe an extended mag. I hate the reload speed of 45. That's why I don't use it, which kind of sucks. You could go for a muzzle if you wanted to instead of the barrel, but I like the consistency of the range and the velocity here, especially because that nerf, this will maybe make it feel a bit more like it was pre-nerf if you happen to be fighting in, 25, 30 meter fights. It's a nice little backup, and I can tune for the better mobility out of this as is, so kind of gaining back that, just outright because of the tuning system. Then lastly, I go for the shark fin underbarrel. It's got no real cons, and I can tune for the better mobility here with that ADS and aim walking speed. So it's a nice, fast, and aggressive SMG, and it's still working fine here in Season 2. Now, loadout number 4 is my spicy TTK setup. These two guns will dominate. I got the RAAL, best TTK over long range, and the Chimera, one of the best close range TTK guns, especially after the Fennec nerf. So the RAAL setup again really hasn't changed all that much. We got AMOP V4, furthest eye position, fastest ADS on that tuning option there. We got the Stip 40 rear grip for the better idle stability and recoil steadiness tunes on top of the better just basic outright control that we're getting. They nerfed the recoil on this, so keep in mind we want to focus on getting that back. I got the Dune underbarrel, better control yet again, tuned for even better stability and better stabilization. Again, we're dropping the suppressor in this case, and because that recoil nerf, the Shred CP90 muzzle is going to be even more important than ever. And I tuned for even better gun kick and better stabilization here. And lastly, the Rhino barrel is going to give us that best velocity and even better control, tuned for better damage range, better recoil steadiness. So personally, this thing's recoil is still pretty easy to use in my opinion. Like, it's very straightforward, and when you land shots, nothing stands a chance against this thing. Now the Honey Badger, aka the Chimera, we're just focused on close range, right? So we want to make this rifle feel as fast as possible while still allowing it to shoot straight in case we are in some mid-range here. So Bruin Flash rear grip, better ADS and sprint to fire. I tuned for the better steadiness to sort of offset that, and then also the better sprint to fire as well. You can never get enough sprint to fire, basically. 45 round mag, just your basic extended mag, never can go wrong with that. Edge 47 underbarrel yet again. Yes, it hurts the ADS speed, but we tuned to get some of that back. Also a better strafe speed with the bottom tune as well. Lockshot KT85 instead of a suppressor. Previously we're using Kastovia, not really a huge need for that, so we'll just go for the better control all around. It'll just make it feel easier to use and more consistent. I do again tune for that better ADS though, just to keep that mobility nice and aggressive. Also better gun kick control. And then lastly, Vorpal barrel, based around mobility, better damage range, but also better movement speed and ADS primarily is what I'm getting there. And you can really tune either way here if you want. If you want the better range and steadiness, go for that. But if you want the better mobility, you could go the opposite directions. There's not really a wrong answer on the tuning for this one, curiously enough. So this pairs great with the RAAL. This setup in general is going to be frying. And then lastly here, this is sort of my nerfed, but still very fun and very consistent setup. We got the Fennec, which yes, it's not as good as it was before, but it's still a great SMG and right there with our other options. Then also the 7.62. This got some slight nerfs as well, but in terms of rifles, also still a phenomenal choice. So on the Fennec here real quick, setup really hasn't changed since last season. It's just, again, not going to be as effective, right? We got the rubber grip, better ADS and sprint to fire. I go for the better sprint to fire, and personally the better recoil steadiness here, just because there's a bit of bounce, a bit of shake when you're shooting this. You might as well keep that consistency and reliability so that you're not missing too many bullets. 45 round mag, you have to use. Like, there's just no way around it. 7 milliwatt laser for the better ADS and sprint to fire. Again, we're tuning for the better ADS and sprint to fire. The drop grip here, going to give you that better stability and hip fire accuracy, which of course is great for a sub. And I can tune for a slightly faster ADS and then that better strafe speed as well. So going to be nice and aggressive. Then lastly, just the Lockshot KT85 muzzle, better gun kick control, better stabilization, just keeping this thing easy to shoot so you can just fry close range still. And then lastly, on the 7.62, as we've talked about lately, you can drop the barrel, you can change out the suppressor and have a really good long range setup here. We're going for the AMOP V4. Again, furthest eye position, better ADS, no changes to that. 40 round extended mag, pretty basic there. High velocity ammo, it's going to feel nice and consistent over mid to long range. We tuned for the better velocity and better range on there. Edge 47 underbarrel, again, tuned for the better stability and recoil stabilization. By now, I feel like you guys got the pattern down. And then the Sack and Shred 40 on here as well for the better gun kick control, stabilization, and basic recoil control that we're getting out of it altogether. So still reliable, just not as dominant as it was last season. Overall, though, all of these setups here are going to be fantastic choices for Resurgence on Ashika Island. And that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.